don't know. You're not God. You don't have the answers. You don't have the answers, Connor. You don't have the answers. Let's just stay like, you don't have the answers.
Woo! Big up, everybody. Welcome back to TJ Warren TV. Welcome back to episode 104 of the American Idiot Show. And it's begun again, gentlemen. We are here in the year of our Lord 2025. It's May 30th, still on both sides of the ocean. And I am unfortunately having to report that the only cups that we are holding hold our booze. Big up everybody that is in the chat already. Big up everybody that is already commenting, liking, sharing, doing all that stuff. We are joined today by my guy Carl from Gun Down UK, a guy who actually holds the standards of this club and is likely not happy about these turns of events. So that's why we got to get him. That's why we got to bring him in. I mean, you know, the chat's already cooking. Acers is already here. Like, so why did we bring in Berta if we are only going to go out there and get SESKO? Why are we only going for projects when we aren't going for finished articles? These will be things that we talked about here. But Carl, I'm going to throw it over to you first, man. How are you doing, first of all, outside of the football?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing really well. Thank you for inviting me on. It's much appreciated. Been watching your show since the back end of last year, actually, to be honest with you. And I'm like, one day I'll get
overdue.
on this. One day I'll get on this
overdue.
But no, it's been it's absolute pleasure to have me on, mate. And yeah, apart from this football club driving my head into the ground, everything is all peachy in my life right now. So big up, all good.
All right, and Dal, how you doing, bro?
Yes, sir. Personal life's doing good. Can't complain. Weather's beautiful here. It's gonna turn into summer here real quick. Been out on the deck drinking some beers, doing my thing, and I'm glad to be back with my man TJ and the legend Carl of Gun Down. So, big up everyone in the chat. I know we got lots to talk about. Oh man, but no, big up everyone in chat. Big up TJ. Big up Carl. Thanks for starting a good show again. And here we go. Next year FC.
Yeah, next year FC strikes again, people. That's why it's in the title. So we are now heavily linked to Benjamin SESKO, whom we were lightly linked to last season. Leipzig wasn't going to sell him last season. Now they are. That we're going to pay over the ends for him when we could go out there and get a finished striker like Victor Gyökeres from Sporting, who has shown that he can provide and he can actually produce in big games, whereas SESKO is. And I don't watch RB Leipzig. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't watch it, but I've been told by people that he is not the finished product. He is a project. He is the Serbian Havertz. Carl, what are your thoughts on this, man? Because like honestly, I've been beating the drum about this on every show that I've gone on. It's like what's the point? What was the point in bringing in Berta if we're just going to go out there and get an Arteta type signing anyway?
I'll give you this analogy. I'll give you this, okay? If we were going to get SESKO and we've been pursuing him for the last 18 months or so on, why the bloody hell did we get Kai Havertz in the first place?
Right.
Because this is basically all we're getting for. He is basically a younger version of Kai Havertz with Timo Werner pace. That's basically what bro, that's basically what he is. 21 years of age. He's a project player. He's nowhere near the finished product. He always said he's very raw, which is what a lot of these bloody what a lot of these top graders have turned around and said. And I just think there are better ways to use this. If it's 93 million that we are paying for a 21-year-old, I mean, you better pray on your bottom dollar that he is going to be the one that's going to get us 20, 25, 30 goals a season, actually get us over the line. But there's no guarantee of that actually happening, you know. And the fact he hasn't, the biggest amount of goals he's scored in a league, in the Bundesliga, is 16. That's the most he's ever scored, which basically means he's averaging around about the same as Kai Havertz is. So once again, it's like for like. I've said this for time, okay? Arteta does not want a striker. He wants someone he wants a false nine that can reverse back into the box and can invert and actually stack the midfield. And that's where you see the fullbacks invert, it crowds up the box, it crowds up the middle, right? That's what he wants out of this. Now, with regarding of Andrea Berta, I generally think that, big up Connor, I generally think that he does get some blame for this, but I am going to play devil's advocate on this, okay? He arrived and signed for this football club around about March, April time. This SESKO deal, I think, was pre-Berta. Same with the Zubamendi deal. Was pre-Berta as well.
Probably.
Because of the only thing Berta could do is say, nope, not happening, and rip the whole shopping list up. That's all he could potentially do. I reckon he's been told, and I could be wrong here, so this is just me guessing here. I reckon he's been told by Josh Kroenke, let Mikel get Zubamendi, let him get his Benjamin Sesko. Whatever happens after that, the signings are then all on you. But I'll give you a prime example. If, say, our third signing is, say, Nico Williams, then we know that Berto has got no control over this summer window. However, if he completely shocks us and we get Rodrigo from Real Madrid, I know that's a fucking pie in the sky type of scenario we're thinking of here.
Yeah.
Then you can say, okay, that is a Berto signing. That is a real Berto signing right there, getting Rodrigo from Real Madrid. I just think right now, as if the season ended, I thought, right, sweet, let's just clear our heads and let's just focus on the summer and so on. And it's a bit like that scene in The Simpsons where Homer is trying to drive the car over the canyon. He's trying to get to the other edge and he fucking misses it. That was the season. He's being airlifted, gets back into the ambulance, and then the tree is SESKO. Back down you go again. This is us in a nutshell as a fan base. It's not great, mate. It's not great. Everyone is hoping on the idea that SESKO is going to work out. I mean, it's not a completed deal. It's in advanced concrete talks, but that can mean absolutely anything. There is still time for Berta to go in at the last minute and say, not happening. Not happening at all. I would rather pay 93 million or more and get Florian Wirtz.
Yeah.
I would rather do that. And then, because the two strikers that I personally want is Pavlidis from Benfica. I've jumped on Northside LDN's bench.
Of course, you have to. Of course, you have to.
And
shout out Northside.
And Jonathan David, who's on a free.
I've seen Jonathan David live. He is a fucking baller. I don't care what anybody says. That guy can ball. I saw him play for Canada, and he can finish. He can finish. So like I'm not shaking my nose or putting my nose up at that at all. Like Carl, I'm with you. Like I would rather have a Jonathan David who's played that position at a high level and be able to actually perform. Like I just think David, I just think SESKO is a project, and we've seen, unless you're like an Erling Haaland, German goals don't always translate into English goals. And that's what scares me the most. Big up Connor. Man, I want to bring in Connor on this because Connor, like, we talked about this last week. How are you feeling about the SESKO situation and our links so far? I agree with Carl. I mean, this reeks of Arteta pre-Berta.
Yeah, first and foremost, pick up yourself, TJ and Dow.
Yep.
Love coming back on the show. It's like a first home. I love coming back on here. Big up to Carl as well. Hope you're well, man. And big up to everyone in the chat too. Hope everyone's doing well on this Friday evening. Thank God it's the weekend. But no signings today. It's Friday, but no signings. So we're doing it. Yeah, listen. It's very clear and evident that this player is Arteta's signing. And I'm not putting any of this on Berta. It's tricky because I think there is very much a power struggle problem at the club. I think when Arteta and Edu were working together, I guarantee you, and I give it about 10 years, Edu will come out and say some stuff about his time at Arsenal. And he'll say there was a power struggle. I wanted this player, but, Mikel said no, or Mikel wanted this player, but I said this player would work out more. Listen, Edu wasn't great, by the way. His talent scouting and his talent ID wasn't great. But I'm making the point with now Berta's in here. We're not even signing in Zubamendi. We're not even one signing in, and there's already problems. one person's already thinking this player looks better, but the manager thinks this player looks better. Because we've all got to remember here, Arteta doesn't have a fantastic talent scout ID. He doesn't. Listen, Berta might not either. Berta had some misses at Atletico Madrid. You know, he didn't have some great ones, but he had a lot better than what we've had in terms of signings. You know, it's very clear that it's either hit Mikel Arteta's way or hit the highway. And I'm going to be very, very interested to see what happens in the next year from now, in terms of if this guy will still be managing this football club. Because I have a funny feeling that all these decisions that we're making, especially with SESKO, this might be a one-way trip to a hill that may end up him leaving the job or getting sacked. Listen,
We said that same thing with Kai Havertz, though.
We did, but now Berta's here. I think we might see something a bit different, especially if he doesn't win anything next season. But my thoughts on SESKO, I'm on the same boat as a lot of other people. I prefer Gyökeres. Now, would I take SESKO at Arsenal? Yes. But I'd take SESKO at Arsenal if it meant we got Gyökeres as well. I don't want to have this window of just SESKO. I don't want just SESKO. I want another striker as well. If you're going to do that, I'll respect the SESKO signing. But we're doing this thing again of where we're picking the project player. I think SESKO in a couple of years, and I do believe the reports, and I do believe the stats and all that, I do believe in a couple of years he may actually become a very good striker, and I think he'll become one of the most wanted strikers. But not at the moment. He's still 21. He's so raw. He's still such a young player.
22 today.
And the fact that we're risking 65 million plus wages on this guy, it's just like, why take the punt of a guy who has 21 goals this season compared to the guy that has 52 goals this season, around that, and the other guy who scored 47 goals last season? But I'm hearing the problem is, but he's not good in the air. Gyökeres isn't good in the air. He's not really good at headers. Well, why is that a problem? I think I know exactly why SESKO's being signed for Arsenal. Now, again, like yourself, TJ, I don't know about you two, Darryl or Carl, people in the chat. I don't watch Leipzig week in, week out. I don't know all about SESKO, so I'm not going to sit here saying, I know this, I know that, because I don't. However, I've done the normal fan thing, and I've looked into some videos of him and seen how he plays. I didn't know this until literally yesterday. At Leipzig, he plays a very deep role, like a false nine. Like
Of course he fucking does.
He's sitting... He is literally in a position where Martin Odegaard is. What he does is, from what I've seen from... Listen, I don't watch week in, week out, but I've seen multiple clips, like multiple I'm talking about. Like, this is a common theme to his goals. He is normally sitting deep and drives into the box to have a shot goal. That's normally how it plays. And I'm thinking, that's why you want it. Because you don't want an out-and-out nine who just sits in the box, fox in the box type thing, striker, going straight into the back of the net. No, you want a player that's going to drop deep, like Kai Havertz, drop deep, go forward. You want it to suit your system. And I think this is such a big, big mistake. I think we've seen how the system is now going backwards. It's not as effective as it was when he used it 3 years ago. And the fact that we're now... Listen, maybe it might come good with an actual number 9. I don't know. Am I going to sit here and say that SESKO will be a guaranteed flop? No. But you're risking a lot more buying him over Victor Gyökeres. And it's not because of the G&A. This guy's got more experience. He's played in England. He's proven himself to be a complete... It's not the fact that he's just gone to the Portuguese league and scored multiple goals. He scored a load of goals at Coventry as well. He knows the English game.
Against City.
Exactly. It doesn't really make sense to me why you're going to choose this guy of him. But then again, you know, Arteta loves his project players. He loves to pick these players to make them into something. And listen, if he gets SESKO, which is, I think, probably going to happen now, and he makes him into this absolute world beater and scores 20-plus goals this season, I'll put my hands up and say, well done. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this guy's going to be the guy to come in, and we're going to have to wait 2 to 3 years for him to become good. And here we are again. You know what
scares me the most about this, and I want to get Dow's opinion on it, but I just had a scary thought. They signed SESKO, but he doesn't start right away.
That's going to be an absolute joke. 65 million. You don't start.
I'm dead. No, I'm dead serious. Where are we putting Kai Havertz?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
You bring this guy in.
You can't drop Kai Havertz. That's your guy.
Yeah. So Dow, what are your thoughts on that?
I think, number one, I agree with Carl and of course Carter as well, that, you know, it's number one, it's a project signing. Well, it's an Arteta signing, I guess, first, right? Because we were linked to him before Berta was even in the picture. There were links to him even last season, right? Before Berta was even heard about. So, yes, this is an Arteta signing, another sword for him to fall on. However, if he does the business, and if we truly are linked to Gyökeres as well, I want them both.
Yep.
Because we won't have Jesus, we have no real replacement for Nketiah, and again in Jesus, right? So essentially, we need two strikers.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't, and we all know that if we get SESKO, Havertz will be the one off the bench, or like you were saying, TJ, vice versa. Havertz will be the striker, and SESKO will come off the bench. But for $92 million for a 22-year-old who I think just turned 22 today, I heard on another show, is absolutely fucking bonkers. And that's out of any, that's Declan Rice money, you guys. That's close to Declan Rice.
I think it has been debunked, to be fair, I think it's actually 60, 65. I mean, that rumor was
still a lot of change for somebody that you're not sure is going to be starting.
So let's be 70 mil for SESKO and 60 mil or 55, 60 for Gyökeres, right? But Gyökeres has the numbers, and I know the Portuguese league argument. Fair enough. How many great players have come to the Portuguese league and scored goals? I don't know. I can think of a number 7 that played for United for a while. This isn't a Fabio Vieira fucking signing. This is not a Portuguese player. This is a top Swedish player.
A lot of people now are comparing him to João Felix and Darwin Núñez. They didn't even have the numbers that he's getting out in Portugal. They didn't have those numbers. Like it's like you're comparing.
The people that are comparing those probably need to get their sights checked.
He was a Coventry.
Nothing like Darwin Núñez.
And they said there 102 goals in the last 2 seasons. Yeah. AJ is the facts man. Big up AJ as always. I mean, just the numbers speak for itself. But Arteta's got to be Arteta, like we've heard on many shows over the years. He's always got to have the last say, and I do think he is overruling Berta in some way, unless they get both. If we get SESKO and Gyökeres, to me that's a 7 out of 10 window. With the Zubamendi addition, maybe a 7.5. And the thing is, too, as I mentioned last week, TJ, what if Zubamendi comes in and really does something, like plays that through ball? And like, if you take from what Connor said, if SESKO, if we do get him and he plays the false 9, if Zubamendi can play that ball, at least gives SESKO something to run onto through midfield. So I can kind of see that as a.
So what's your midfield?
Thing.
What's your midfield? I think I might have asked you this last week.
What's your midfield? Is Rice, Partey, and Zubamendi. Odegaard can suck a dick and go sit on the bench. Because we can play a flat 4-3-3, right? And have Zubamendi put the ball, serve the balls through the channels like he does at Sociedad, even though they don't have the top striker at Sociedad. But Zubamendi, as you guys have seen, I know you guys have been watching the clips and have seen some of Sociedad. This guy can fucking play. And I think $50 million is a decent deal for this guy, but it's going to take him time to acclimate to the Premier League. I don't think he's going to hit the ground running. He's certainly not going to replace Odegaard. I know I'm being silly, but there's different tactics that we can use with this guy that doesn't require 15 flicks of the ball, hair flicks, and putting floating balls over the line. It doesn't work out. Another midfielder who now Odegaard decides he's going to shoot outside the box. Where the fuck was this 8 months ago? Right? I want someone in there that can just take charge, right? And the thing is, if we get Gyökeres, guys, I still think if Odegaard's on the pitch, it's not going to matter much because who's going to serve him the ball? Because he ain't going to have the cats from Sporting doing it, and that midfield's far. I don't even know the midfield, but Vitinha or some shit like that plays for them. Is that his name, Vitinha? The guy that fucking Sporting that plays with Gyökeres. Put his name in the chat. Somebody knows. The thing is, if we have Gyökeres and we still have Odegaard doing Odegaard things, what's that really going to change? And if we get SESKO, the thought is already that you put SESKO's 6'5" fucking statue up there. Odegaard loops the ball and he's supposed to head it every time. Fuck, put Gabriel up there then. Put Gabriel up there if that's what you want to do, because SESKO can do nothing else but head the ball and take far shots while the goalie's fucking 18 yards out of his box. Like Connor said, I've seen nothing of this guy that proves that he's going to do anything different than what we already have. And Gyökeres at least brings something different. It's disgrace, bro. This being linked to this guy without another addition. Because if we get SESKO, TJ, Carl, and Connor, and chat, we're probably not going to get Gyökeres, even though that's what we want the stars to align to. It's just
Yeah.
He's not. He won't run with four possible strikers. There's no. Especially because Jesus started to
Jonathan David's a great selection. I go Jonathan David.
I don't see Mikel loves Havertz. He's got a reason to keep Jesus till Christmas. In a not in a rude way. I wish he didn't have that injury so we could sell him this summer. It's such a ball ache that he's now got that injury because we can't sell him. Because he'd easily be on the chopping block for me this summer, Gabriel Jesus.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the next documentary about how he builds back.
Yeah, so then we had the Rob Holding one. I think we had a Kai Havertz one as well.
We've already had one for Jesus for the last knee injury, and now we're about to get part 2. Anyway,
I don't see us we're only gonna get the one. And whether they decide to pick it up on a winger, because I don't know what's happening with Trossard's contract situation. But listen, don't get me wrong. The window doesn't even open for another 15 days. We're already doing all this. We've still got 3 months to go with all this, gentlemen. We've got a long time to go. With all this, and listen, whichever way we go, I'm just curious to see what the manager thinks he's going to do with the starting 11, unless we sell players. Because bringing in Zubimendi warrants out. Because let's be honest and real, Odegaard will be playing in next season. Unfortunately, he will be starting next season. And not in a rude way. I just don't think he's consistent enough, and I think that's a simple enough answer.
I think that's probably the politest way you could say that.
But anyway. I think it's trying to be as polite as possible. And so he'll be playing. So does that mean Zubimendi's on the bench until Partey all of a sudden has a stinker? Then he has a warrant to start Zubimendi, which I don't know how that's going to work. Bringing in someone like SESKO, and we all know how much Arteta loves to ride or die like Havertz Hill. Is he going to firm putting Havertz on the bench, saying, I messed up, I shouldn't have signed Havertz? Hasn't worked out, do I put him on the bench? Mikel Merino, will he now become a rotational player? But we bought him last season. It's all these questions now going to be thrown up in the air, or are we going to sell some of these players? So I think we're putting ourselves into a real dangerous position, fellas. But in my opinion, because of how SESKO plays for Leipzig, it's just gonna make sense that we sign him because of the manager. If we didn't have Mikel Arteta, I think we would go for a Victor Gyökeres. I think we generally would, but I think we're going to have to live in this reality where we will be signing Benjamin Sesko this summer, and he will be wearing that number 9 shirt. It's as simple as that. And that's a tough reality. But the thing that makes me laugh is how is Sesko going to deal with getting supply balls from Martin Odegaard compared to Xavi Simons? And this is consistency we're talking about here. And Xavi Simons, I think, is a very, very fantastic player. Doesn't have the numbers as of yet. Doing good at Leipzig, but doesn't have crazy numbers, but doing very well compared to a Martin Odegaard who decides when he wants to turn up instead of performs every week. I think we could have an issue here. But I'm all for giving Sesko a go. But I will be here if we don't win anything next season and he isn't scoring 20 plus goals. I will be straight onto the manager. I won't be onto Berta. Because listen, it's all well and good saying, blame Berta because he didn't have enough mental integrity to tell Arteta, no, you sign this player. No, this is Mikel Arteta's player. He wants this player. If it doesn't work out, it's all eyes on him. He's taking a massive risk for a guy who knows. And I think he does. If he doesn't think that his job's not on the line, he's crazy. And to take a risk like this, another one after the Kai Havertz deal, bro, I respect the way that you're going about this. References like stepping on Legos. Don't hurt yourself, but you're being very cautious and careful. He's taking a big risk here. So, and I think it could be a downfall. But hey, I just don't want Gyökeres to sign for a Premier League club. If he signs for another Premier League club, I'm going to be fuming.
Exactly.
If he does move, I hope he signs for London. There's been links that he's going to Napoli. So,
if it's worse, it's a London club.
Yeah, hopefully not Chelsea, because Chelsea look like they're going to sign Delap, and hopefully that'll be it. But then again, Chelsea with their money, they'll just splash it like no tomorrow.
No, Chelsea scares me.
If Liverpool decide to ball out on 130 on Wirtz and 60 on Gyökeres, kiss the league title goodbye.
I think it's game over if they get Wirtz. Just go ahead and give it to them.
I think they need a striker. They need a striker. They do. They need a striker up front.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've put all that money on Wirtz makes me question that they're going to put any more money into the summer window. But then again, we've seen them do a lot of money before. So it'll be interesting. But we're going to go down this route for SESKO. It's as simple as that. The Gyökeres stuff is done. I don't think we're going to sign Gyökeres at all. And it's such a shame because I think he'd be perfect for Arsenal. And there's all this stuff about, he's not good in the air, so and so. If you're looking at a player and it's like I'm seeing people saying it's not all about GA. I'm sorry. You're telling me a player who scored 102 goals in 2 seasons isn't something you want at your club? It just
Right.
blows my mind. And for a price less than the guy that's scored how many in 2 seasons? What, 40, 30, 40 something? Like, it blows my mind. Really, really doesn't. It makes me question why people want this so badly. And I honestly do believe that a lot of people want SESKO because Arteta wants SESKO. And they're Arteta fans. And it's as simple as that. And we've all been down this path before, man. And I don't want to write off SESKO. If SESKO does come to the club, I'm not going to shit on him and say you're shit. I want to give him the utmost respect and say, yo, do what you need to do for my club. But if you don't score 20 plus goals next season, 15, 20, I'll be on his case and I'll be on Mikel Arteta's case. 65 million for this guy when you could have bought Victor Gyökeres. And if he goes to a Premier League club, oh my God. And if he comes here and he balls out, oh, there's going to be so many people that will be shut down from this. So many people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. It's one of those things where this reeks of we are going to get SESKO. We're going to try to develop him. We're going to fail in developing him, or he's going to end up just being a bench player that, we're going to end up signing, or we're going to end up injuring him, or one of the two. Like, don't play in the 9 for Arsenal unless you want to date on the medical table. Like, that's pretty much what it's been the last 2 or 3 years. It's been absolutely embarrassing. Ever since we got rid of Aubameyang, we have not had a clinical striker. We've had link-up men in the 9, and we've had bozos like Kai Havertz coming in and giraffing in goals because he has the profile. Like, it's just absolutely insane to me that, like, this is a home run. We have the players around him. Gyökeres can create space. He can finish. Like, clinicality has been the reason we have not won the league. And that is not being talked about enough here, because top gooners want to back anything Mikel Arteta says. They want to gobble. Never mind. They want to do way too much protecting the manager, because it's more about the manager than it is the club, than it is the badge at this point, because they've invested so much in him now. They don't want to admit that he's wrong, but now the signings are now just getting out of hand. When you have an easy A, you have the answers to the test right in front of you, but you're deciding to be that asshole who turns it over, and you're allowed to use it, by the way, and just go off of memory. Like, dude, it's right there. It's right there. He has shown that he wants to be in the club, but it goes to Arteta's ego. It goes to the fact that I don't think he can manage big egos in the locker room.
No, he hates it.
And I think Gyökeres might just be too big for him. Pause.
Well, notice how no one else is going in for SESKO, TJ. We're the only ones going in for SESKO. It's not like there's a massive race to get him, because people know that he's not that good yet. And there's no disrespect. He's 21 years of age. He's got so many years to improve as a striker. But you just can't. Like, Haaland, right, was balling out numbers when he was in the Bundesliga. SESKO ain't Haaland. He was absolutely balling out numbers, and people wanted him like that. Man City stamped him up like that.
Hold on real quick, Connor. Big up Sod for the raid. Big up. Go and subscribe to Sod's Football Corner. He's the man. Sod, you're kind of a fraud though. So we need. Yeah, so Sod, you're kind of a fraud still. We gotta have a talk later though. But
he's not keen on SESKO either, by the way. Just to let you know, he's not keen on SESKO either.
Yeah. I know.
We want Isak, bro. We want Isak. Isak would be the number one.
We all want Isak, but we know it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
He's like 14 shot and everything. But hey ho. We'll end up with
I want Margot Robbie too, but that isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, don't we all?
What do you guys think about? Here's what I've said before, right? And I want your guys' opinion, Carl. Like, I feel like getting SESKO is, again, another player where we're the stepping stone club, because he'll be with us at 22 years old. We may do a 3 or 4, maybe a 5-year contract. Let's say he stays for 3. And then if he's successful, he will move on. And that's my thing, Carl, especially, is that I always think, like, when we buy young semi-famous players, they look at Arsenal as a stepping stone club to bigger things after some, performances at our club. What do you think about that with SESKO?
Well, the critical word in that sentence, if he's successful, is if he is successful, because guess what? We've gone 5 years without winning a trophy, so there's no guarantee that he's going to be successful with the club. But you know what? You are right. We are a stepping stone. We've been a stepping stone for well over 15 years, for Christ's sake. Right. We had young prospects come through for Arsenal, and unfortunately, they just never panned out. And either they weren't good enough at the end of the day, or they were good enough, but we just weren't successful winning any trophies. We were very unfortunate with that. But with this SESKO, you hit the nail on the head on one point, and that is you don't see Real Madrid, you don't see Barcelona, you don't see Bayern Munich, you don't see PSG, you don't see, I would say, Sporting, but let's just go with Benfica, for example. You don't get these big teams. If these big teams so wanted SESKO, wouldn't you think that they would be knocking on their door? So why is it us? Yeah. Why are we the only ones of it? Because when you get someone at 21 years of age, you're either looking at it as a project to move forward with someone that they can learn from behind, who's a quality player. We don't have that quality player, so you're kind of just shoving him in a position there where there's going to be more pressure now than what there has been lately.
Yeah.
Or it's one of those, or it's a gamble that I tell you, once again, he's got the talent IQ of a fucking toaster.
Right.
I don't
know. He said he doesn't know the European market. I've said that for a while, which I know he doesn't either.
I'm surprised the club are letting him go forward with this, especially the amount of money he's spent and wasted on players that we don't even need. It's quite ironic now that Marquinhos is now leaving on a permanent. But that was keeping good relations, wasn't it? It's very like if I want, you know what? He probably would have a stat for me. Aaron talks Arsenal, talks football.
Pick up my brother.
I think he has a stat. I don't know of the actual good signings we've made compared to the shit ones.
Yep.
And you could really tell. Do you know what's a great example, right? Great example. Build up to Don Sam. Klopp didn't have great talent ID. When he joined Liverpool, he wanted Julian Brandt. Who was the other one? He wanted Julian Brandt. And he wanted someone else. And they said no. Anyway, whoever it was, they said no. They said, we'll give you Mane and Salah. And the rest is history. So he didn't want Mane and Salah originally. That was the Liverpool board. He said, no, we're going to give you Mane and Salah. We're not going to give you Julian Brandt. Who the fuck was the other one? I can't remember. He said it anyway. It's like, but it makes it very clear. Even the toppest of best managers don't always have the best talent ID. And the fact that we're now seeing this manager choosing the player over another, when literally practically, I want to say 85% of the Arsenal fan base can see the fact that he's making the wrong decision here. I don't really know if everything goes sideways this season, how you can back this. Do you know what makes me laugh? I guarantee you, I can go to a stream a year before today, a year ago, 2024, and I guarantee we were talking about the same shit.
Just wearing a different t-shirt and with lights on.
It's crazy.
It's the Henri, gem disease. We're trying to find that next Henri. We've talked about this before on previous shows, guys. Like, we're looking at 22-year-old SESKO. Oh, we'll turn him into this striker. We'll do this and that. I mean, the talent gap, right? And so we're still on for this, trying to uncover this gem that just doesn't really exist, especially when the gem has scored 102 goals in 2 seasons, and you're making that person like not a priority. And there's clubs that Gyökeres could go to. Like, don't think he couldn't go to Bayern Munich if they get rid of Sané, right? Because they can sit Harry Kane because he's aging. Don't think he couldn't go to Chelsea if they're.
You don't think Amorim? Obviously there's no European football in it for him, but you don't think Amorim's freaking giving him a call, giving him a couple of texts?
Yeah, for sure.
I think we're very lucky they didn't win that Europa League. I think if they won that Europa League,
we won't be. I don't think we'll be able to compete with United in wages. Right?
United are pulling the purse.
That is unfortunate.
They've got to go to Malaysia to make up the money to fucking
Well, they failed that one, didn't they?
There will probably be an influx of money for them. Obviously, to do stadium repairs as well, because now they found rats and stuff in certain areas of Old Trafford, which we know there's been rats there since about 1907.
There's still a rat there named Bruno Fernandes that's about to go to Saudi.
So the fact of the matter is that, to me, United are still the ones that they'll find a way, right? They can find a way, but they've got a lot of offloading to do, right? So I think Chelsea is not unrealistic. I just feel like with Gyökeres, I kind of feel like Connor does. Like, that ship has sailed just literally 48 hours ago. We've been talking about this guy for 3 weeks now, or longer, obviously, and Arsenal YouTube. But the links have only been around strong links have been around for 3 weeks. And Goiker is basically what he just lifted a trophy the other day. Was it the Portuguese or something like that?
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't Sporting win the league?
I think Benfica did.
Oh, Benfica did? Okay. See, shows how much I pay attention.
Yeah, well, right. And the argument that he can't do in the Premier League, that's a stale argument. I don't want to really.
Yeah, Sporting won the league. Sporting won the league. I thought I wasn't crazy.
Yeah, I thought I saw him lift a trophy. And that alone is like, once the fireworks went off for their noisy neighbors, the phone calls needed to be made, right? It was either sack Arteta or get the best players in that we can now. And we chose the latter. They're trying to get the best players in, right, so to speak. I'm not saying that, don't take me that as verbatim, but, it's like Osimhen. Like, we're not getting Osimhen. There's no links to him. The Gyökeres battle could – and here's another thing, guys. I know Carl and Connor especially will respect this. If we get Gyökeres, is it going to be before August 16th? Doubtful, right? Are we going to get him? Is it going to be before August 16th? Doubtful. Those guys are going to abuse at the for about 3 weeks with the misses, make babies, take their time. They're not looking at signing specifically for Arsenal right away, right? That's the thing. Yeah, the window opens, what somebody said, June 1st. There's no way on God's green earth Gyökeres is signing a contract on June 1st or June 2nd.
Well, there's no way that Arsenal are going to get the business done quick either.
Let's be realistic, guys.
Horrible reputation.
We may end up with fucking Carlos Vela.
Dude,
we may end up with some offbeat name, right? SESKO's misses.
We're linked to Ollie Watkins again, too, by the way.
Ollie Watkins, there you go. Maybe this is the time for Draxler to make his appearance, or maybe we can pull Benzema off at 34 years old. Right?
When's coming in?
Apparently, some loose reporter basically said that we're going up. We're linked to Garnacho. I was like,
I wasn't gonna bring that up, bro. I wasn't gonna bring that up. If we bring in Garnacho, I'm turning TJ Warren TV into a gaming channel.
I read on someone's chat today that they would prefer over SESKO, Marcus Rashford and Watkins to come in.
Who? Arsenal?
I mean, somebody in the chat, yeah.
No, that's bullshit.
For Marcus Rashford to come in and Ollie Watkins over SESKO. Over SESKO.
It wouldn't be that shit.
I think I would take Ollie Watkins. Would you guys, yes or no, would you take Ollie Watkins over SESKO right now?
Over what we have right now? Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'd take. Yeah, it's difficult.
I would take Ollie Watkins over SESKO.
I think he's starting to push the boat a bit now. I think it's time. He's getting towards it. I think in January I would have taken him. I think towards the end of the season
for the push.
But I think if we were to sign Gyökeres and Watkins, then yeah, because I think. But then Watkins wouldn't want to play second string. But I think I don't know. I just want fucking Gyökeres. That's what I want. I don't want Watkins. I don't want SESKO. I just want Gyökeres, man. And I did just check. It was in Klopp's first summer, he wanted Götze and Brandt, and Liverpool said no. We're going to give you Salah and Mane. But let's see what I mean. If imagine it, I swear, man. If we come to the end of the season,
a manager is there to coach the players. The sporting director is there to bring the players in that will suit to the manager's needs and suit to the football club's style of play. That's what the sporting director is meant to do. You do, even Mourinho, he did have a say on transfer, but he didn't have that much of a say. He threw out some names here and there, but he never demanded he wanted this player.
If you look at the all or nothing stuff, especially when City had their tenure, Pep obviously gives his insight into what he wants. I think Pep does have a decent talent ID, but not managers don't 24/7 pick the players that choose to come into the club. It is also that otherwise there would be no point of having a sporting director. There wouldn't be a point in that. It makes me laugh how people say, Mikel Arteta chose all the players. There was a number of players that we got under Edu that absolutely fucking flopped. And we all know that. And we accept that was stuff that happened under Edu.
No, come on. I think Nuno Tavares will come through for us. I think Sambi Lukonga will come through for us. Come on, guys. No, have the faith.
Fabio Vieira.
Year 5, they'll come through.
I think Sam.
Fabio
What
Vieira.
are we talking about?
Would have been
$35 million bargain.
It makes me laugh actually the whole Marquinhos stuff because I don't know if you guys watch the because I do actually watch. I do find it quite funny. The Guess the Gooner on Arsenal's channel where they get one of the players to guess the ex-Arsenal player. With there's like 5 people. One of them is actually an ex-Arsenal player. They said in 5 years' time they'll get Marquinhos to join one of them lines because no one even fucking knew who he was. He's got one guy in the Europa League.
He started what? One match? He started one match in the Europa League, and that was it?
There was a guy that I can't remember who was. I can't remember who it was. One of them was there, and he played a game. He came off for Vermaelen in the Champions League, one of the group stages, and he was there. He was there. He played, and they didn't even have a clue who he was. They voted him off. They voted him off first because they didn't think he was the Arsenal player. And they came back at the end. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the one." So I think that'll be Marquinhos in a couple of years. He'll turn up and he'll be like, "Yeah, I played, believe it or not, in the Europa League. And I scored a goal and I got upset." What a player, right? That makes me laugh. They paid that club $3 million for a free player for good relations, and we haven't bought anything from that club since. And that is who we had in charge as a sporting director. You can give Edu his flowers for some things, but let's keep it honest and real. Inexperienced. But hey, I'll be interested to see how this window goes. And actually, I do, in my personal opinion, I do think that we will sign 2 or 3 players before pre-season. I think one will be Zubimendi. I think the other one will be SESKO, and I believe the other one might even be Juan Garcia. I think that'll be the 3. And I don't really have a problem with that. If we sign SESKO, I want him to be here before pre-season. I don't want him to be here after. He has to be here before pre-season because I'm not having him walking into the Premier League season with no experience with this team. None getting to know them, getting to know the players that he's going to work with, i.e. Saka, Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice. He has to integrate himself into this team. I ain't having this fresh guy walking in, not knowing what he's doing coming into the Premier League season. He has to be here from the first. Where are we going? We're going to America this summer, right? We're going back to America?
No, you're not. You're going to Malaysia.
I'm going to fucking hell. That's going to be good luck to them. They'll be sweating.
They're playing. Dude, they're playing. Yeah, they're going to Australia too, and they're playing Tottenham in Singapore.
Oh right. Well, yeah. God, that's going to be a trip, isn't it? Well, either way, I still want him there, and I want Zubimendi there as well. We've got to get these players done over the line, but we've got time. We do have time. We're not going until July, but I do think we'll get 2 or 3 players done though. I think this striker will be sorted before the start of July. I think we'll get it done soon.
I don't think so.
Really? Do you think they'll drag it out?
Dude, I don't see how you think that we are going to operate any differently than we have before.
Because I do think Berta will run differently, TJ.
But Berta hasn't had any there have been no Berta signing type serious links yet, and that's why I get nervous about this is because the ones that we're trying to get over the line, we're not going to get over the line because we're going to haggle, we're going to wait. Like Dal said, they're not going to be in any hurry to get anything done anytime soon. They're not going to see any big market opportunities. I mean, look, we signed Declan Rice early in the window because we had been linked to him since fucking January. Like we knew it was going to happen. He was playing in that Conference League final, knowing that was probably going to be his last game for West Ham. Like that was it. Now, I just don't see how any of this changes. And I want to not to divert from that question, but I want to ask Carl this question because we talked about this last week when Zubimendi got the here we go. TJ panel, does Arsenal really need Zubimendi? Carl, where does Zubimendi land in Arsenal?
We do need him. He isn't the most important signing that we need, but we do need him as a body. And I know I know that's the phrase Arteta doesn't like using, but I will use it for this circumstance. Okay, Jorginho's gone. He's gone back to Brazil, right?
True.
All we've got as a defensive midfielder now is Thomas Partey. We're still trying to restructure a contract for him. Hopefully it's a 2-year contract. Obviously, the second year is an option to get out of it if it doesn't pan out the first year potentially.
Yeah.
So I think you do need Zubimendi in there. But the whole point of buying Declan Rice last season was for him to play in the 6. And in the end, he's ended up playing on the left as an 8 on the left of midfield. So by that reckoning, it looks like we're going to have Zubimendi is going to be playing as a defensive midfielder, and Rice will continue to play in the 6. He's still not okay. He's the best midfielder Real Sociedad has got, but. Come on. We're going to have to play it after Real Sociedad.
Yep.
Yeah. Want to go after Eze at Crystal Palace? Want to go after Alex Baena from Villarreal? You know, you've got, you know, there are plenty more options. There are more and more options out there that we could go for than Zubamendi. But
I'd have gone for that. I'd have gone for that Reinders fella from Milan.
Reinders from AC Milan.
Yeah.
He'd have been cheaper as well because they're not in Europe next season. I'd have gone for him.
I'd have gone for Bruno Gomes.
I'd be too expensive. I did not. The problem is because we're keeping Partey. I think Zubamendi is going to be a bench player till next season. I think he will be a bench player. I think he'll be a rotational bench player. I don't know if he's accepted that or not because there's no way, unless Mikel Arteta is that ballsy to drop Partey straight away. We know how essential he is to our team. But then again, you might want to switch it up. You might want a different player compared to Partey. I don't know. But Zubamendi is a lone six. Again, don't watch Sociedad week in, week out. But he doesn't look very physical. He's very scrawny. And I watched him against Man United, and I wasn't that impressed.
It reminds me of a 6 version of Fabio Vieira.
Well, yeah, and I was just thinking, you know, in the 6, because we play such a deep role 6 that holds that back of that midfield right in front of the 2 centre-backs, you're going to need a physical presence.
Otherwise, we're just going to end up. Otherwise, we're just going to end up getting dog-eared at Newcastle again. Sorry,
someone like maybe like a Douglas. Maybe go back for Douglas Luiz. Maybe I don't know.
God, how many times have been? How many fucking years have been linked with him?
Well, yeah, I know, but I just think in terms of the player that he is.
I will say this though: if you want a project player, if you do want a project player who's also Premier League proven, go get Adam Wharton from Palace.
Yeah, actually, that's a shout.
Let him learn under Thomas Partey for 2 years, and then let him move into the vault.
Yeah, that's a shout.
I like Ryan Yates from Forest as well. Yates from Forest had an incredible season as well. There's other options. Sorry to interrupt you, Connor, but my thought is that you guys heard my thoughts. We can play a different style of football without fucking the Norwegian prince. We saw what we can do with Rice on the left against Madrid and in other games. And that's why I think, from my opinion, it's Rice, Partey, and Zubamendi, and you just flatten it out more, and you just say, fuck the number 10. Because
do you think that limits us creatively?
We're limited creatively right now.
We get taken the piss out of having 6 as a left.
No, but I've been questioned on that as well, right? I know. And the thing is that is it really creative? Do we need creativity, Connor, or do we need someone who can just turn and make a pass to the channel?
We need creativity.
Well, what do you mean by that? Because the creativity that we have is not creative.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that Zubamendi is like. I mean, I think we need a better version of Martin Odegaard.
Right.
I'd have loved the Florian Wirtz.
I get what you're saying. I know.
I think playing someone like a Zubamendi who's not really known for going forward like that and taking on defenders like that, I just think it's a bit of a risk.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and it's right. It's a little out of the box thinking, but the thing is that I think we're getting him because he can play those passes through the midfield. He can play those passes through the final third. And at the end of the day, it would be more direct, right? Maybe the focus would be more on Rice moving the ball than Odegaard is now, right? So I'm trying to think outside a little bit, right? Because we know it worked against Madrid. I know it's Madrid, not the Madrid of the old, right? We all know that. But Rice on the left has been, I would say, a successful experiment for most cases. Wouldn't you guys agree?
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I was extremely skeptical. I was extremely skeptical of it as well.
Right. Oh yeah. No, we all will. I mean, I wanted at the 6. Rice does all the work. Right. He does all the work. Right. But on the left, he's that box to box, and he's got the physicality. We all know that. And he can shoot the ball. We obviously know that. And he's got a little
bit of cheeky tech too, by the way.
He can play the reverse pass. He can, do. But again, is it the tricks and flicks, or do we need someone who can just do the turn, do the Cruyff turn, do the 180 turn on the ball, be the anchor man or something, right? I think no matter who we get, guys, if we still have Odegaard doing Odegaard things, it's not going to matter. And that's my point, is that Zubamendi's, from what I've seen, is more of a direct player, gets the ball, turns, looks, and makes the pass, doesn't dribble up. We don't really need that if we play a little more compact. I mean, Arteta, isn't going to do this. And, of course, you do need a central attacking mid at places. But Rice can provide that, I think, on the left. because you just flatten out the midfield more. Maybe you drop back a little more. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways to get this Norwegian fraud on the bench or off on the bus. Unless something changes,
the only way is
nothing's going to change with him as captain. And I know
Can I ask? I'm gonna ask the panel a question. If Odegaard has another season like he did this season, is he gone?
Not if Arteta's here.
I hope.
Not if Arteta's here.
I think under a different manager, this guy
100%. TJ,
we'd
have got rid of if we had a different manager, he'd have probably gone this summer. You know, we're so connected to this guy because he's the captain as well. And he's not. He's the captain in disguise. The real one's opposite him in the midfield. You know, it's and I'm shocked, by the way, that he hasn't said. I don't know whether he feels embarrassed by it. He shouldn't. It's just his life, isn't it? How he hasn't gone to him and said, Declan, I can see you're more of a leader. Let me give this to you. If that was me, if I was Odegaard, I'd happily do that for the sake of the team. We can all see it. The fact that they've still allowed him to have that, like they're scared to take it off him. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like we're doing it. It's like it's child's play, like on the playground. And we're not going to upset Martin because it might upset him if we take it off him. But let's face the facts. He's not a captain.
Cry.
And again, I'm not being shameless here. I think he's easily replaceable. Getting the right replacement, I think someone could do better than him unless he steps up this season. But if Martin Odegaard has a fully fit season this year and he doesn't get the numbers, I don't want to hear any excuses this season. I just listen, and don't get me wrong, I think there is a player there. I'm not saying he's shit. I'm not, because I think Odegaard is on his day. We know how good Martin Odegaard can be when he wants to actually be Martin Odegaard. But when he wants to be that player who can't be asked, who will press maybe 3 times in a game and then can't be asked to do it anymore, because that's the role he plays. Which, by the way, I want to make it very clear, this manager very much underutilizes his skills by the way how he makes him drop deep. I want to make that very clear. I think if Odegaard was just left forward and didn't have to run back so much for the ball, I think he'd be utilised a lot more. But however, in the system that he's been chosen to play in the way that he plays it, it's not good enough. And we're going to have to get someone that would have to replace him in this system that could be a deeper 10 or an 8, however he wants to play, and do the job better. It's as simple as that. TJ, I think he goes. Well, he should go. But at the end of the day, do you know what? We need a new coach. I'm sick of this system. This system's boring. The players are bored of this system.
Well, and what scares me the most is that you saw Josh and Arteta playing patty cake at Southampton as we barely get it over the line against them. I'm worried that we're going to be stuck in this pragmatic football. There's going to be no ideas, no room for creativity, no risk, no nothing. And in terms, not to use turn a phrase, but if you don't risk it, you're not going to get the biscuit, right? Like we are so pragmatic that we are going to do enough to get top 4 because we have a quality of player that can get us top 4. But if we're not willing to change to become a little bit more dynamic in the final third, and obviously we're going to end up sacrificing a little bit defensively, we're not getting anywhere. We're going to end up getting second or third next season behind Manchester City and Liverpool, and then we're done. Possibly Chelsea. You know what I mean? Like these are the things that keep me up at night with this football club, is the fact that we are not looking to advance whatsoever. No new ideas, nothing. Same brown dog who wishes she could go back to the pound. Same freaking manager that's going to come out here and play the same boring football that we watched all season long. And don't get me wrong, it got us some results when we needed it, but when we really needed results, it fell flat. Like these are the things that keep me up at night about this football club. And we're going to be talking with Carl in 2026. My hairline again is going to be way back here. I'm going to be way fatter than I am right now, way grayer. And I'm still going to be saying the same bullshit that I'm saying right now because people back this guy up. It's so insane to me. It's so insane to me how people can say, you know what, we're this close to glory. We're this close to glory. I'm like, we've been this close to glory for 3 fucking years.
Yep.
3 years. All right. Sorry. I know I'm going on a rant here, but it's just absolutely insane to me how people, especially Arsenal fans, after our rivals, 3 of our fucking rivals won cups this year. 3 of them. Yep. And we're still willing to do this. And look, I'm going to take the piss. I'm going to continue to fight the Tottenham fans that are bigging up the worst Europa League in the fucking competition's history. I'm going to keep doing that. But at the same time,
I dealt with that for a day, bro. Like, I dealt with those. I can't take it anymore, bro.
Dude, I don't give a fuck. Here's the thing. I don't care. My whole point is you can't win the Europa League if you're in the Champions League. And I will take being in the Champions League over the Europa League any fucking day of the week.
True.
That's all I'm going to say. But that being said, we need to start producing. We need to start producing because out of the big money 6, we have gone the longest now without winning a trophy. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
5 long years.
Bro, like, what are we talking about? And don't get me wrong, like I would take an FA Cup. I would take a Carabao Cup. I would.
No.
I would take that right fucking now.
Stop, TJ. The reason why I say no, if this was,
You're not allowed to disagree with. No, keep going.
if this was last year,
Dude.
if this was last year, 2 years, 3 years ago, yeah, I'd take an FA Cup or I'd take a League Cup.
Bro, I'm just
But this manager has spent 750 million over the last 5 years, won absolutely nothing now. I'm at the point now where it's like, I don't think one of the domestic cups, I think, doesn't cut it anymore. I generally don't think it cuts it anymore. It has to be the Premier League or it has to be the Champions League. If not, bye-bye. See you later. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm sorry.
I understand.
Listen. I'm 34 years of age, mate. I grew up watching the FA Cup back when I was growing up as a kid, right? I loved the FA Cup. I loved the League Cup, okay? But for this particular scenario that we are in, I don't think a domestic cup satisfies the fan base anymore. It might do with the likes of you, me, Guns, Aaron, Jez, and so on, maybe to a certain degree.
I want to comment on that.
Yeah, to a certain degree. But
I get what you're. Sorry, Carl.
Go ahead, Dal. Go.
But I'm getting a little. It's a little delayed a little bit. I don't know.
But for me personally, for this season, there has to be the League or Champions League. And I'm sorry if that's me being very entitled to.
Nowhere near, mate.
But
I don't think it's entitled.
But guess
at
what?
all.
Time's running out for this manager now, and he has now got to win a major now. A cup won't satisfy.
I think time is up. I think time is up.
Maybe if he makes a cup final and he wins it, I'll be like, okay, well done. Right. Congratulations. Only took you 6 fucking full years to do it, but you done it anyway. But I would still say, nope, you still need to win the league, still win the Champions League. This is why this window is so important. Because Liverpool are retooling, City are retooling, Newcastle will retool, Chelsea will retool, Tottenham will retool because they're back at the Champions League again. Aston Villa will retool, Forest will retool as well. That's 7 teams just named off the bat. And if we don't move, we will fall behind.
Yeah, Newcastle, Villa, of course.
The only reason I say, and I've said this before, so sorry if I sound like a broken record. The only reason I say that, like, I would take an FA Cup and I would take a Carabao Cup is because we need to establish a winning mentality here outside of winning one-off charity shields, and we don't, and we just haven't done it. We've lost something. Like, we brought in Mikel Arteta. Yeah, he won one FA Cup with Emery's squad. Everybody's heard that story before. But we need to reestablish Arsenal as a domestic power, not just a European power. We need to reestablish ourselves as a domestic power, because we're not. We're the bridesmaid. We drop out of the 5th round of FA Cups. We drop out of semifinals and quarterfinals of domestic competitions regularly. That's why I think anytime Arsenal comes up against a Premier League squad or a very strong championship side, a lot of us kind of write it off. Like at this point, look, when we played Nottingham Forest a couple of years ago, when they were at the top of the championship, and I didn't think we were going to win. I wasn't positive we were going to win, and we ended up losing. We end up going against some of the worst West Ham sides we've ever fucking seen. We go up against the worst Man United team in Premier League history and lose at home. Like, these are I want to solve these problems first before we move on to, champs and the league, because are we close there? Yeah, absolutely. I hear what you're saying, Carl, but for the love of God, get the basics done first.
Well, I think it comes
What happened to us? What happened to us?
Right, and that goes to exactly what Carl was saying. I have similar feelings as Carl. I had that for a long time until I would say last season, right? Because last season we knew it was pretty much in the toilet in December and January, and we were hanging on to these competitions outside the Champions League. We were hoping to get progress through these. And I think the progress through winning a Carabao Cup or winning especially the FA Cup, which is really important to me, actually. I love the FA Cup, but I'm not going to hold the 3 FA Cups we've won in the last, 16, 17 years over anyone's head, right? Especially our noisy neighbors to the west of us that wear the color blue. The thing is that I'm with Carl, I think, more and more on this as well. And that's how I used to be. Even the 26 years I've been following Arsenal has always been Prem, Champions League as at all costs. I didn't care at all about, was it the Carlsberg Cup at one point? I mean, all the different names the League Cup has been, right? I didn't really care about that. I cared about the FA Cup, the League, and the Champions League. I cared about the treble. The natural, normal treble is what we should be shooting for every season. However, this season, since it was in the garbage so early, and we knew this season we weren't going to win it. We knew with Moreno and Calafiori. We talked about this in the American Idiot Show number 57, right? A year ago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we did. And we know that we didn't get the signings we needed then. And it's looking even, more bleak now that we're not getting Gyökeres as the hours go on. But Carl's right. And you're right too, TJ, in the sense that we need the mentality, and these kids need to know the feeling of winning something. And that's my big point. And the thing is that winning anything like the Carabao Cup will help if we're still in the Champions League, if we're still competing for the league, will help propel us to hopefully winning something like that. However, it does again come down to this manager selecting Saka, right? Selecting players that we know are overplayed. So, and it's, at times it's like he gets the lineups right for the right games, right? And of course he gets the lineup wrongs for the other games, as well. So I just feel like at this point, different than last season, I'm back on the Carl train because I want nothing else but the fucking treble. Well, one of the 3. I would take, I would take the FA Cup, but it has to come with the Champions League final. I would take the, I would take the league with the Champions League final and an FA Cup final, right? But
Yeah.
I don't accept the FA Cup and nothing else. And I want to stay on Carl's train because that's what's going to get us to the promised land. If we lower our mentality to, let's just push for this Carabao Cup and let's just push that. And I know Arteta's not just pushing that, obviously, because he doesn't squat it up that way, right? He doesn't sometimes give a squirt of piss about either one of those. But I think a little more emphasis. So I agree with you both.
Yeah,
but
I hear what you're saying.
Now's the time. Now's the time. We've fucked around with this manager for 5 years. It's either, shit or get off the pot. And there's nothing less than we need and then the Champions League trophy or the EPL. And we know we can do something in the Champions League. We know now we can get over that hill of Madrid, right? Remember that fucking 2 weeks when the whole fan base was together? Hoorah! Right? It lasted for fucking 2 weeks, and then PSG came to town. So if we can just get over these hills, we will get over the mountain. But it comes down to the manager. That's kind of the variable of what I'm talking about, the outlier. The point is that Carl's mentality is right, and so is yours, TJ. But at the point now, it's like the Champions League, the Prem, or fucking just go away. Go die on the Donkey Havertz sword. I don't want to hear us getting wild up for the Carabao Cup when we're fucking 3rd place. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna shoot back at you a little bit, and sure. I gotta go in 5 minutes, so I'm setting a 5-minute clock right now. Because I gotta go over with and do a show with Flawless here, and we will redirect over to Sarcasm City TV, by the way, people. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like standards of the club. So Ashley is just saying you're past just winning a League Cup. Right. That would be a backward step. I completely fucking disagree because we aren't winning anything right now. Top 4 is not a trophy. There is no trophy for top 4. There's not. There's an opportunity to win another trophy that we end up squandering because we're focused on the fucking league. That's my point.
Well, that's Carl's argument. That's Carl's argument,
no,
right?
I hear what Carl is saying. Because I know there's a ton of nuance to this. There's a ton of nuance to it. But the fact that we cannot win domestic competitions with players that we have and the system that we have, when we have rivals like Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, who are the worst Man United team in the last 15 years or in the last 12 years since Sir Alex left, they still can scam trophies, but we can't. That's what my problem is. That's my problem.
Let me counter with Ash, okay? When I did say they don't satisfy me more, don't think for a fact that I don't want to win a League Cup or an FA Cup.
Right.
I haven't said that. I would still like to win one. However, it will not back up 5 years of winning absolutely nothing anymore. It would not.
Mm-hmm.
It might do for them lot. But it won't do for the real fans that actually look at this right now and go, yeah, we need to have something major now. This is what I mean. If a manager comes in and we was competing for the league, we competed and we missed out by the last 1 or 2 days, but we still won the FA Cup or we still won the League Cup, guess what? We're not going to complain about where we finished in the season, because guess what? I'll give you a prime example. We got one of these to show for our efforts. It's called a fucking trophy. And that's my NFL Fantasy League trophy, by the way. So I'm good at fantasy football.
This fucking guy, man. This fucking guy. But I think we're all on the same page in terms of like where we want this club to be. I mean, and look, like I'm Arteta out until it's over now. There will not be any turning away. I don't give a fuck if we're in first place. And until the league is secure, until a trophy is secured, I am securely Arteta out.
TJ, which I know you know this, but I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm not sure you know. I know what you know, but you know what Carl's going back to is the old standard, right? This is the George Graham Wenger standard of our era of putting out the B Tech team for the Carling Cup. Putting out
we don't have a B Tech team. We don't have a B Tech team.
Right, and that's our own fault, right? And that's a huge part of the difference too. And that's another outlier, right? Like we were saying earlier, it's kind of that for instance, right, situation. But we should be like you, TJ, said, we should be cruising through the Carabao Cup, beating those lesser teams. Maybe have a tough final against someone like, maybe Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, etc. But the thing is like you said, TJ, that at least we were there to the final. And like Carl said that as well, right? Those the FA Cup and the Carling Cup are the additions, right, to winning the big one. They're the nice to
I
have.
hear what you're saying.
Right? And that was the mentality that Carl was raised on, and Connor for sure. And that I've had to learn, of being an American follower too, is that a lot of these core fans do just, like I said, TJ, this. They will not sacrifice for anything less. Like Jez will not, Jez, Normsky, Lee Gunner, like DJB, they're the Carling Cup is, it sounds like Anthony, it's beneath us in a way. But at this point it's not. Right? It's a new time, it's a new era of Arsenal essentially with this fraud. But it's nothing really new.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, TJ. Once you win that does carry the mentality, just to kind of summarize. That does help with the mentality.
100%. Connor, last word, and then I got to get the hell out of here and go deal with
Is Tony on tonight?
No, Tony, of course he's on tonight.
Oh, yeah. Don?
Don will be there, yeah.
I will be there. Listen, the final words, I mean, do you know what? We'll see what happens with this SESKO deal. I hope that we get Zubimendi done by next week because his medical's already booked in, so he should be an Arsenal player very, very soon. So that'd be nice. Finally get a player in. But yeah, let's just see how it goes, innit? I think SESKO will be done. I think he will be the striker that we get. Not in a disrespect towards him, but I find that very unfortunate, but it's something we have to live with. And I hope to be proven wrong and hope that he leads us to a Premier League title. this season. That's all I can say, because that's what I want, the Premier League title. That's what I've been looking for. That's all we've ever wanted. And that's what we're looking for again. And am I confident we're going to do it? No. But let's just see how this window pans out. It's not even opened yet, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, we're just kind of chilling now, aren't we, really? Because obviously, apart from the Champions League final tomorrow, which will be hopefully a very good game, I'll be going out for that one with some of my boys. And yeah, hopefully it's a good game. Don't have to worry about Mikel Arteta football. I can actually enjoy some decent football.
Yeah, you can watch two serious teams.
I'm actually hoping PSG win it, because this whole Luis Enrique story, he's had a real tough time. And the way that he's taken
how great would it be if they won and just shoved it into Mbappe's face?
Banned England in terms of European football, so I hope they go ahead and complete it. In all honesty,
why do we want PSG to win?
Because of the whole.
They've beaten all the English.
Well,
Luis Enrique, and they beat all the English teams.
He's had a tough time recently, and I think he deserves this.
His daughter passed away, right?
Yeah. So he deserves something out of this, and he's worked very hard, and he's outclassed some of the best teams in Europe, and I count us in that, because I think we're up there definitely with the way that we were playing. And he's got them far, and I hope that he can go and complete it. I do like Inter Milan. I think they're a very good side as well. But with the way that they play and the way I saw them play in the last, even though they did get past Barcelona in very, very good 2 legs, I think PSG could do this. I think they've got the talent. I think they've got sort of Inter Milan. Don't get that twisted. It's 2 very good sides, but I think my favourites for this one are PSG. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully it's a good game, and we'll see what happens with this club. Just get ready for many more days of links here, links there. Just honestly, unless it's Ornstein or Fabrizio, just don't believe it. Unless one of them two, or maybe Team News and Ticks. Apart from them 3, don't believe anything you read. But yeah, big up to everyone.
Yep. No, I agree. Carl, shut yourself out, man. Gun down UK people. He's really he covers the Patriots, which we won't hold against him.
Oh my god.
And he has incredible opinions about Arsenal. His link is in the title, people. So just go over there and shoot a like over on his videos and subscribe to the videos. But Carl, what do you got coming up, man?
Yeah, so I will have a show coming up this weekend. Again, I do a lot of transfer talk every morning. I've been doing it on my commute to work recently this week, which I know it's not the safest thing to do, but guess what? I'm trying to get the content out, and it's the only time I can really do it without waking my son up. So, it's really, really difficult, but it is what it is. I will be doing a preview of I'm into my darts, actually. So the World Cup of Darts is on in 2 weeks' time. So I'll be
I need to get into this. Yeah, a lot of the English folks are talking about that.
And to prove to
that, and the F1s this weekend as well.
I do have a show and tell for you. Just a quick one. What's that?
Oh, neat.
Hampshire Youth. I play for Hampshire Youth County.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. Holy shit.
So so I'm into my darts, and also I'll be doing wash-ons for the Club World Cup as well whilst that's going on. I'll be supporting Al Hilal just for something completely different. And then I've realized I'm in Real Madrid's group, so guess what? Me and Guns are going to be doing a bit of a collaboration for when that game's on. And yeah,
does he support Al Hilal as well?
No, he supports Al Ali, I think it is.
Mars too.
Big up Guns, but he supports so many other clubs that it's hard to keep track.
He's got a Real Madrid member. He's got a Real Madrid membership, so that makes him a Madrid fan.
Actually, I'm one of those too.
One other thing, I'll throw this out there for you, because I've just seen Alexis has pissed myself laughing. Okay, I want you to listen to the names, okay, and what I'm going to say afterwards. Ben White, 6'1". Thomas Partey, 6'1". Ricardo Calafiori, 6'1". Jakob Kivior, 6'2". Marino, 6'2". Declan Rice, 6'2". Magalhaes, 6'2". William Saliba, 6'4". Kai Havertz, 6'4". Benjamin Sesko, potentially 6'5". Mikel Arteta is not building a side to win the Premier League. He's building the North London version of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, literally.
Oh my god!
He wants to add another one with Cisco.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Go and subscribe to Gun Down UK people. Dal, any last words before we head on over to Sarcasm City, my guy?
God, last words is that if we get Sesko, you better bring me Goikarez as well, or Rodrigo, because he ain't gonna be enough.
That's fair.
That's really about it, man. I mean, we've talked about it for the last hour, and everybody had the exact correct points. That this is a project signing. This is an Arteta ego signing. 102 goals in 2 seasons, and you just go, nope, pass. Like, really? It just, the data speaks for itself, and he's so data driven, right? And again,
it's just so wild.
Part 3 to that, guys, we get a striker. Where does that put Kai Havertz? It puts him at left midfield. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody.
And on that depressing note, we're gonna redirect you over to Sarcasm City. Big up Maddie for the raid. Obviously smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We will be live. American Waffle does return either Monday or Tuesday. Keep an eye on the community tab. We'll be doing team of the season and yelling at each other a lot because we'll know who the European champion, all of the European champions are at that point. But until next time, we'll see you over on Sarcasm City TV. Big up Carl for coming on. Big up Connor. Big up Dal. And we will see you guys next time.
No, you're not God. You don't have the answers. You don't have the answers, Connor. You don't have the answers. Let's just stay like, you don't have the answers.